Well, I started this in my garage 13 years ago. So at that time, it was just, I had always liked graphic t-shirts and I was really curious about the process of screen printing. And so in the beginning, I was just very self-taught, a very slow process of trying to learn how to screen print in the garage. And then just as I got more skills and more connections and found information on YouTube, then it just got really exciting to be able to, come up with t-shirt graphics and screen print them. And it's really satisfying, and that's what I like about it so much, is it is fairly easy entry level to do stuff in your garage and still produce t-shirts. Yeah, it's satisfying. I just didn't have the right equipment or knowledge, and it can be really frustrating. And so I think what happened was I made connections in the industry and started talking to people that screen print and getting that help and those tips from other people that were willing to share knowledge, and it didn't feel like competition or something. That was super helpful. And so still to even now, like, we get quite a few people who are wanting to learn how to screen print and have a little setup in their garage. And I think by far the hardest part of that situation is the actual screen burning part, because without the exposure unit to burn the screens, it can be a very trial and error over a lot of time. And so I always tell people that if they want help, we burn screens for people that print at home quite a bit, just to take that difficult side of it, because it's hard enough to even just learn the technique of screen printing, but then the setup and the equipment. So yeah, we still troubleshoot with people, and I like to help people learn how to screen print. And I like how excited people get it, and it reminds me how excited I used to be about it. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think you can be in business and not have a sustainability initiative. It's just, our world is just, this garment production world is very toxic and very polluting. If you take everything from just the fashion industry and all the clothing, I mean, behind oil, it's just like the second most polluting. And I want to be in business, and I love this business. So, trying to lessen that impact and educate myself and people that work here, and try to learn from the bigger companies that are out there going to India and figuring out how to do organic cotton, and doing the research, trying to learn and absorb as much from the industry as possible. It's just really important on a personal level to even feel like, what are we contributing to the world, and how can we help a little bit. So this year we finally put in a filtration system in our water in our washout booth. So that really helps. Has like 5 different filters that everything goes through, so that all of our wastewater is clear, sending clear water to the waste stream. So that was a big one. The next thing we want to do someday would be to get a direct to screen setup. So right now we're still doing the old method of we have to print out plastic film in order to burn a screen. Mm-hmm. And there is new technology that eliminates that. So the plastic film is that's probably the biggest waste that we produce in this small little print shop. So working towards eliminating that, and just, as we grow, keeping in mind that sustainability is important, that helps guide decisions around what equipment to buy. It was not intentional. I'm really lucky that we have mostly women working here. It wasn't necessarily intentional, but maybe it's easier for women to gravitate towards a new industry when I am a female business owner, and maybe that can be less intimidating. I don't know. I think we still could, I would like to have more diversity when I have a chance to hire again. We have previously hired through a program that supports adults with disabilities, and so I'd like to get back to that initiative. And so, yeah, I just think that it's not intentional, but it's certainly a nice perk. And so often in this industry or in this business, the people I hire don't necessarily have experience, so that makes it maybe a wider pool to grab from. I've had to learn a lot over the years since the garage days when I started out with just me, and having employees is necessary and sometimes challenging. But I think the way everyone feels the most secure is by having structure in place. So things like a really good employee manual and solid safety measures, things that I didn't really think about when it was just me. So as I've grown, I've been able to put those kinds of things in place that, people like communication, people like things to be clear. Everybody wants to know their job and get in their lane and know what to do. So just it's so much of managing people is trying to make sure everyone has the resources they need and that I'm available to them, and the job is as clear as possible, because everyone here wears so many hats and there's so many, we're a pretty small business. There's only 5 of us right now. And so people have to rotate around a bit. And so that can be good, because then your job can be different every day and you learn new skills and it can be really fun. But it's also not just pushing a button every day. So sometimes people are learning on the job or needing to ask questions, and it can definitely add to it. But I think it's a creative work environment, and that helps, and people enjoy working in a creative outlet. The first Women's March, the big one, the day before, we opened up our doors and just said, we have a few designs, bring us a t-shirt. We're just taking donations to Planned Parenthood. It's free. And we just had a line out the door, and people were emotional, and people were kind of nervous about the Women's March the next day. Nobody really knew how it would go off, and people were excited and supportive, and it very much felt like part of, Threadbare was part of the community. And so that was a really exciting day that I won't forget.